Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rant. I am Drunk Farmer, and yes, the college football playoff polls came out last night, and there was a bit of a surprise in it. I think, but to me, I think it was kind of a surprise, but yet I wasn't too surprised by it. You know what I'm saying? I knew this was coming eventually. So here we go. If you haven't heard, here's the top five. Well, I'm going to run down the top six because that's important. Anyway, we got Georgia at number one. That's a no-brainer. The number two team was a surprise, Alabama, but yet it wasn't a surprise. I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. Number three, Michigan State. I think Michigan State, they deserve it. They've worked their way up. I'm not totally sold on them yet, but they're at number three. Number four, the old Oregon Ducks, the Quack Attack, Quack. They're at number four. The reason why they're at number four, and it was a good observation about this, and I kind of thought about it, and I kind of saw some people and some sports writers kind of agree on this. Early in the year, they beat Ohio State, a high-ranking Ohio State team. So I think that's why they're at number four. Right behind them is the team they beat, Ohio State. They're at number five. And at number six, Cincinnati did not get a lot of love. They're at number six. I'm sure some Cincinnati fans are not too happy by that. I wouldn't be, but I'm not a Cincinnati fan. I'm a Husker fan, and I'm depressed. Anyway, so let's look at the remaining schedules of these top six teams. Georgia, I think the toughest game they're gonna have probably at Tennessee. Tennessee always gives them a good football game, and Tennessee's been tough at home. Don't let that record fool you. I think Tennessee is a pretty good team. Georgia has to realize that. And Georgia needs to realize that Tennessee is going to play them tough. And they usually play them tough at Tennessee. And it is a rivalry. I mean, it is. Then after that game, if they survive Tennessee, they'll play Charleston State. Really, that'll be a scrimmage. Then they'll go down to see, and they'll go to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. That's always a rival. That's the Georgia Championship football game. See who's going to walk out of there with that Georgia championship. I'm saying Georgia will. Alabama is number two, of course. They have LSU this week. After LSU at home, they also have another home game with New Mexico, a scrimmage. Then Arkansas, that might be a scrimmage. Then the game to circle is Auburn on November 27th. The Iron Bowl, that can go either way. And this is at Auburn. So this game could go either way. Auburn could win or Alabama could win. Auburn is a top 20. I think they're still in the top 15. Auburn's really is good this year, and they've been good at home. So now, like I said, this is not going to be a gimme for Alabama. I think the first three, I think the rest of the schedule will be, but when they get to Auburn, I don't know. Michigan State, they have a kind of a little bit of a tough road ahead of them. They go up to Purdue this week to play Purdue at West Lafayette. That could be an interesting game. This could be a trap game for Michigan State, okay? Because what Michigan State and that Michigan game last week, great game. Now they go to Purdue. Don't let Purdue fool you. This is a scrappy team. They've proven that. This is a pretty good team. And this could be a trap game for Michigan State. If Michigan State survives this, they'll play Maryland at home. Then circle these two games, their last two games, circle them. Ohio State on November 20th at the Horseshoe. Then they come home for the last game of the season in Penn State. So if Michigan State is going to stay in this playoff picture, it's going to be a little bit of a tough road for them. Number four, the Quack Attack. Oregon. I just like saying that. Quack Attack. The Ducks. They face Washington this week at Washington. That might be a tough game for them. Washington has been playing tough at home, but think Washington will hang with them for a while. I really do. I think this could be kind of an interesting game for Oregon, and they have to watch out for that. Then they face Washington State at home. Then they travel to Utah, and that's not an easy place to play. And Utah is going to be really jacked up for Oregon. Believe me, if Oregon beats Washington and Washington State, Oregon is tough. Don't let that ruin. Like I said, some of these teams, don't let these records fool you, because when they start playing some of these teams that are rated, they're going to get jacked for them. And Utah is going to get jacked for Oregon. That should be a real interesting game. Oregon at Utah. Circle that one down. Oregon State, I think you could circle the Oregon State-Oregon game. It's the Apple Bowl. It's in Eugene this year. But I think Oregon will beat Oregon State on that one. So, but Oregon State, I think the game to really circle is at Utah on November 20th. Ohio State's next. They're at number 5. They play my beloved Huskers. I'll give you my prediction on that on Friday. Then they travel. Then they play Purdue. Then they play Michigan State at home on November 20th. Like I said, that's the game to circle. And another game to circle for Ohio State, Michigan. Can Jim Harbaugh beat Ohio State this year? He's got a pretty good team this year. They're rated 9th in the college football playoff polls. No, excuse me, they're rated 7th. I'm sorry. I misread that. They're rated 7th. So that might be a good game. Cincinnati's kind of got an easy road. I mean, they have Tulsa at home, then they go to South Florida. I mean, those two teams just haven't done a lot this year. I think their toughest game would probably be November 20th. Would be SMU. SMU is pretty good this year. They're pretty good on the road also. But Cincinnati has this game at home, so I'd probably give the edge to Cincinnati. Then they travel to Eastern Carolina on the 26th, I think. I think it was the 26th game, November 26th game. So if Cincinnati can hang on, they can possibly move up. If Ohio State hangs on, they can possibly move up. Oregon can possibly move up. It depends. And this is only the first week of them. So it depends where we're going to be next week, because it probably will change next week. I don't know. But I think Georgia and Alabama will stay at 1 and 2. To tell you the truth, unless Alabama loses by some fluke, or they stumble, or Georgia stumbles, or one of the two, stub their toes or whatever. But the reason why I say that, if Georgia and Alabama stay at 1 and 2, that sets up a 1 and 2 game for the SEC championship game. Can we say ratings? Can we say television ratings for that game if those two teams survive their schedules? But here's a but, and I will throw this in. If Alabama loses to Auburn, Alabama will not be in the SEC championship game. It may be Auburn, or it may be Texas A&M. I have to look, but I think it might be Auburn, because they're higher rated. And I think Texas A&M's got 2 losses anyway. So, but it will be Auburn representing the West if they beat Alabama. So there you go on that. And that's how I see on that. Couple teams that didn't get any love was the University of Oklahoma. They went to 8th. 9th is Wake Forest. Wake Forest is the king of the ACC. They're undefeated. They haven't lost a game yet. They still got to play Clemson, though. But Clemson hasn't done squat this year. But if Wake Forest can hang on the remaining games of the season, who would have thought that Wake Forest may win the ACC and get a major bowl bid? Wow. I know. So Wake Forest is it was a sleeper team, and then they woke up. So there you go on that. My thoughts on Wake Forest. Also did get a lot of love with the University of Notre Dame. That loss against Cincinnati kind of ruined their hopes, and that's why I think that's why they're at number 10 because of the loss to Cincinnati. So there you go. I will see you Friday for sure for the Rant Predict show when I predict Nebraska and Ohio State. Not looking forward for this. Not really looking forward for this prediction, but I will give you my views on it. So if you have a comment, leave a comment down in the comment box below. Hit that thumbs up button. That'd be nice. Or you can subscribe to the show. Till then, everyone, I am Drunk Farmer. This has been the Rant Special Edition show, I guess I'll call it. I don't know what I'm going to call it, to tell you the truth. But until then, everyone, have a wonderful rest of the week. I will see you Friday. So long.